Howdy folks, Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. Today is going to be my first impressions review of No Man's Sky. We are going to talk about what I feel the legitimate criticism is that the game is getting, and I want to talk about what I feel is not legitimate, the illegitimate criticism that the game is getting. I want to talk about both. Strap yourselves in, let's go. Okay, so I did not pre-order No Man's Sky, and I was not planning on even buying it at the $60 price point. And then I gave it a lot of thought, because in recent, say the last month or so, people have started to support my channel. They have started via Patreon and through the donate button on the YouTube channel. They've started to support my channel. Not a lot, but a little bit here and there, you know. And so I felt like I need to pay it forward. And I see No Man's Sky as it's done by Hello Games, which is an indie studio. They have only 15 employees. It started with the two guys, you know, starting it, and they had a dream and an idea, and they made it a reality. And I thought, you know what, the $60 price point, it might be too high. I won't know till I play the game, but I'm willing to support these guys. I'm willing to support them because of the vision that they have. Even before playing the game, and I did not watch, I on purpose did not watch a lot of videos, any streaming of the game. I didn't want to see any of that stuff because I wanted to go in fresh. But I had been hearing all the criticisms and so forth, you know, and I thought, well, I want to be one of those people that's going to support these guys because they are an indie, you know, an indie game studio, and I want to support people that are chasing their dreams. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. So I get the game, and I load it up, and I am immediately grabbed by the game. Now, having said that, it's almost like this game was kind of designed for my play style, because it takes me back to, and I always go back, a lot of times you'll hear me go back to the game Star Wars Galaxies. But I will describe something for you that'll kind of put this all into perspective. When Star Wars Galaxies first came out, you would start a character, and you would start on one of the starter worlds, and you literally had a melon and a knife. And that was it. And you had to go out and basically, with not a lot of direction, you had to kind of figure shit out as you went. And I remember that I started out with a starter template of a scout. And that's all you really got was like a starter template type things, and you could then spend points wherever you wanted. So I started with the scout template. And I went out, and I was on Tatooine. Everybody knows Tatooine. I mean, even if you didn't play the game, you know Tatooine. So the desert, you know, desert planet, go out there, and I remember it was at night, and I go out there, and there's these little, you know, critters running around and everything else like that. And I figured out, I started hunting them and killing them and skinning them, you know, for their, you could get hide and meat and bone off of creatures, you know. And then I found out by tooling around on my inventory and everything, and my crafting schematics and everything, that I was able to make like a basic camp. It said I needed this many bone and this many hide to make a camp. And so I was like, oh, okay, I need to kill a couple more of these little guys here, you know, and I'll have enough. And then I made my first camp. And then I realized you got buffs from being in a camp. And I'm like, okay, now I'm in my camp. I'll go out away from my camp, do some more hunting and some more exploring and whatever, and then I can come back to my camp and get buffed back up and all that. And I did that for hours, and it allowed me to boost up my skills. For trap, I started trapping, and then I could make my own traps, better traps, and started doing that. And then I learned that there was camouflage, which helped me not be seen by higher level aggro creatures if I had my my scent masked and all that. And I was learning this all organically. I figured it out, So back to No Man's Sky. When I say it grabbed me because I got that same feeling. Because I'm here, I've got a crashed spaceship, and I have a multi-tool, and I've got to kind of figure this shit out. And I started doing that. And, I went out and I started harvesting, and then I got attacked by a little drone thing, and I figured out I had to fight them. And then I went out a little further, and it was that same kind of feeling like with my camp in Star Wars Galaxies. I didn't want to get too far away. I wanted to be able to find my camp again. Well, in this, I wanted to be able to find my ship again. And then I, of course, realized afterwards that there was an easier way. There is an easy way to get back to your ship always, or at least to find the direction to go. But initially, I hadn't figured that out yet. So I'm going out, and then I'm finding out there was little things where I could start to learn language. By finding these obelisks and things like that. And I started learning all this stuff, and I had that same exact feeling that I did when I played Star Wars Galaxies. That I was doing this all on my own, and I'm on top of that with No Man's Sky. I'm discovering stuff for the first time that anybody's discovered. The planet I'm on, I discovered it, and then I got to name it, and I even came up with a formula on how I'm going to name planets from this point forward. So I'm in, Now, let's get into the criticisms. So, to start off with, I like the game at this point. So, but there are criticisms that are valid, and there are criticisms that are absolutely invalid that I have seen, because I did go on the forums just to see what people were talking about. Let's start with the valid criticisms. They put the game out at the $60 price point, and they went ahead and launched it. There are things wrong with the game that a game should not launch with at a $60 price point. That's a AAA title price point that this game has. The optimization is horrible. I was lagging out in places that on other games, yes, it's got a big landscape and all that stuff, but Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft, is, it's got that cartoony style and everything else like that. But there's no loading screens in World of Warcraft, so everything is open. And if you have it on, I have everything on Ultra. So it should, if it was optimized like No Man's Sky is optimized, I would be lagging out like crazy. And I don't lag out in World of Warcraft or Guild Wars 2 or Fallout 4. Fallout 4, I have everything on max, and I don't lag out on Fallout 4. Even when I'm out and there's nuclear explosions in the distance and shit like that going on, I don't lag out. But I do in No Man's Sky. So, that's a valid criticism, obviously. Now, they're working on a fix, but that one is on them. The UI is very counterintuitive for the PC user. You can tell it was done. It's a port from a console, so it's not intuitive. The UI and everything, and it took a while to figure everything out, how everything worked, and the UI and all that stuff. So I don't know if they're planning on fixing it. I don't know if they're going to customize a UI specifically for the PC, as they really should. So that's another valid criticism. Some people are criticizing the procedurally generated content and so forth. I don't really have an opinion on that. I haven't seen anything that has jumped out at me and go, oh, that doesn't make any sense, or that's terrible, or anything like that. So those are the big ones that jumped out at me about being legitimate concerns, and things that should have been done better. Or they should have said, you know what, it's not ready, guys. And people hate to hear that too. Then there's criticism about, oh, well, it's already been delayed, now it's delayed again. And well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay, so their choice was they could have delayed it further to fix that stuff, and then took the criticism for delaying it, or they put it out and then they take the criticism for the shortcomings it does have. If I had my druthers, I would have wished they would have delayed it. I will always say that. I would prefer that they get it right before they put it out. Now, I know there's costs involved, and they've got to cover costs, and trust me, I am part of a game company. It's a tabletop game company, but it's a game company nevertheless, and so I understand, the requirements, the monetary requirements, and all that type of stuff while you're trying to work on a product. I get it. So, now the invalid criticisms. Let's get into that, because this is what I feel most strongly about. There are a lot of people slamming this game because, oh, well, it doesn't have a goal, and it doesn't have a quest system, and it doesn't have multiplayer, and it doesn't have... They never said it would. They said from the get-go what it was. It's a discovery exploration game. That's what it is. And I don't even know that I would categorize it as a game. I consider it a digital world in which to live in, to explore and to immerse yourself in. Minecraft to me is not a game. I mean, it's not like I'm beating somebody or beating the game. Minecraft is a living, breathing entity, world that I can get into anytime I want to and work on stuff, and all that, and people can do the same thing, and No Man's Sky is the same way, and people are going to say, well, it's Minecraft in space. And what's your point? It's just that they've taken it to bigger levels, where you have all these infinite number of planets that you're going to be able to visit, and creatures that you're going to be able to name, and all these different things. So that criticism, there's people that are out there saying, oh, well, I shouldn't have wasted my $60 because I don't have multiplayer, and I can't, see another player if they never said you would. So that's your own fault if you didn't read up enough to truly read and try to grasp what they were explaining to you. That's your own fault if you didn't do that. So yes, there's valid and invalid criticisms of the game. So that's it. That's my first impressions. If you're playing it, and I know some of you are, give me your thoughts down below. Meanwhile, I'm going to be back in there exploring more, discovering more, building more, whatever I can do. So that's it. Now, and a side note, there is a patch, of course, that they're working on to try and fix some of these problems and so forth. The other thing about the $60 price point, now that I'm in the game, I know I will get my $60 worth. There's not even a question I will get my $60 worth, bugs and all. So because I'm glad I did it now, because the $60 represents to me what the potential is that I'm going to do in this alternative world. All the things I'm going to be able to explore and the hours I'm going to put into it and everything else. I will easily get my $60 worth out of this game. So that's it, guys. We will catch you on the flip side.